Everyone, how you guys doing today? And I hope you're fine. I hope you're keeping safe. I hope your family's fine. Today is going to be very interesting. All right. I'll be having an interview with um, I usually call him a leadership expert. Okay, he's already waiting for us. He will be joining us as soon as possible. So today we'll be talking about how to lead yourself personally in the time of crisis. This is a time where um, people need to know how to live their lives. This is a time where people need to know how to use their time, especially students around the world. All right. His name is Tibetan Justus. All right. How are you, sir? Can you come on live? So let's get started. Can you come on live? Okay, so like I was saying, it's a time where we find people usually complain of time. Now they have that time to do whatever they need to do. And now they don't even know what to do with it. So we will be having that interview in such a way that how are you, Si? So good to see you. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good.
I need to say this live. He's my very good friend and he's someone I respect so much. All right. He's a man filled with wisdom, even though I don't know if you would like you to say that, but I really appreciate what you do. I also appreciate what you do at your own space. All right. Even though people won't know what you do, but I'm saying it to people around the world to say I appreciate what you do. I appreciate the sound advice you give to people and enabling them to giving them the right advice to live a life of purpose and a life of clarity is very important. So openly, I will tell you I appreciate you. All right, openly for the whole world to see, and because what we're doing here, I am so convinced that people from all over the world will listen to it and they'll be wondering, wow, so this is how I can live my life. So can you introduce yourself in just a few minutes before we get started?
Well, I'm Justus Tibetan. So, but I'm mostly called Tibet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm married, and I have a son. His name is Zion, and my wife, my beautiful wife, woman. So, yeah, that's just basically who I am.
Okay. Before we go further, Jenny Slick, so good to see you. Then everyone, thank you for joining us. This is a very interactive session, and we appreciate you for joining us today. So today, I want to ask you, sir, what is your perception about what is going on in the world? What is your how do you see what is going on in the world?
Well, asking about how I see what is going on in the world is there's been a lot of interpretations and theories to all of these things, but I'll say it's normal because we all have to interpret situations in our lives to be able to analyze and see how we can move forward and thrive in the midst of those situations. We don't analyze the situations to get overwhelmed by them or to feel sorry for ourselves, but to move forward, as humans, and that is very, very important. So the thing is, we have to agree that these things are, there are a lot of things in life that are out of, even with all the resources we have, with all the sophistications of powers and economies of governments and wealth of individuals. Right now, it's not an exception. We deal with issues every single day. We deal with crises every single day in marriages, in businesses, in economies. There are wars everywhere in the world. There are, maimings, killings, everywhere in the world, corruptions, people dying of poverty, of diseases every single day in the world. So this is, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to mince words by saying it's not new, even though the pattern is different. But in the midst of it, in the midst of this, while some are thriving and others adding words themselves, some are complaining, some are broken, some are offended, some are even blaming God. So I believe that this is not uncommon, even though the pattern is
different.
We've heard about coronavirus, not today, not just this year. We've heard about Spanish flu or any kind of pandemic before now. So this one is just, different in its pattern, but it's not new to man. It's not new to the challenges, the issues, the struggles we go through every single day, the crisis that we fight to overcome. So if we look back into our lives, we see that every single day we are hit by surprises. Every single day. So like I said, this is not new. Every single day we are hit by surprises. Every single day things go the opposite direction against our plans. So the question is, what do we do in times like this? How do we live through a time like this? That's why I'm really, really, impressed and very interested in having this conversation. So you can imagine people getting out of their jobs, going to their jobs early in the morning, and what they meet on their tables is a letter that their services are required or needed. And suddenly the plans that you have, from what you get from the office is gone. The future plan, the bills that you have to pay is all gone. The savings that you have for your children is suddenly gone. So at the end of the day, what do you do in that position? You go back home broken and just give up? No, you don't just give up like that. We don't give up. We're humans, and this is some of the things that God has blessed us with resilience. And we keep moving every single day, even though there are numbers of people giving up and taking their lives. But the thing is, to be a human is to live with adversities and crises and challenges. But we live through them. So you can imagine a builder working on a project, a construction. You own a construction company and you're building a house, and suddenly something goes wrong and the whole building collapsed. So you lost money. You can record losses and a lot of pains and and time wasted on the project already. But what do? You don't keep the building unbuilt. So you go back to your drawing board and you check what is it that I'm doing right, what is it that I'm doing wrong. So crisis happens every single day of our lives. This is how we are. This is how we're made. This is what makes us humans and great and grow. This is why growth is necessary. So crisis comes in order for us to check our lives and to move forward and to be better, to better us, to see the things that we've done, the things that we've not done, the things we have to put in place, the things that has to go. So this is how I think that life is in in the midst of crisis. So the question is, that it poses to us when we're in crisis is: are we resilient? Are we resilient, or we're quitters in the face of adversity? So our disposition in crisis speaks volume on who we are and our understanding and interpretation of life. So it greatly informs on the result we get out of it. So when we start taking actions based on the way we see life, so we start to see results. So we don't just sit down and say, "Oh, I'm broken. Oh, I'm in pain. Oh, a lot has happened to me." So crisis teaches us that in spite of our preparedness and readiness, the storm will come. Crisis will hit, and will be hit in a very unsuspecting manner. and what happens is, and what happens is
it's coming.
and what happens is it reveals our vulnerability. It also exposes what in the foundation or the materials of human that we need to replace for a better result. So we are not better. The thing is, I'll also say that we're not better than our maker.
Yeah.
We're not better than God, the maker of heaven and earth. And nothing or no one is change proof.
Yeah.
Change will hit you. Or nothing or anyone is untouchable. So we live in a time that, that we can remember that God had a plan in the beginning. When he made heaven and earth, he made man. He had a plan with man. But something happened in the garden.
Yeah.
So the plan changed. What did God do? He didn't give up. He didn't just labor. He didn't say he didn't give in to whatever the challenges were at that time. So he went back and he made another plan. Even though the plan has been before the beginning of the world, but he knew that something could happen.
Could go wrong.
Something could happen. So our actions in our everyday life impact on all that. That's another thing I need to say, because that's what I've learned in this whole period, that our actions impact on others, either positively or negatively. And we can't recklessly ignore that. So if you look at the politics in Nigeria, you see, what I'm talking about. So every action that one individual takes impacts on the next person, either positively or negatively. So right now we see that the actions that governments are taking into curbing the whole outspread or more outspread of the virus is impacting on every one of us. We're asked to sit back at home. So if anyone disrespects or dishonor these our guidelines or rules, it's going to affect the other person. So you're asked to sit in your home, so that the other person will not be infected. Or you don't expose the other person to the risk of getting infected by this. So what this period tells me that, how we treat the other person, how we respect the other person goes a long way in keeping everybody safe and making this world a better place for us to live. So another point is division. Division or discrimination of any kind will destroy us, because when the enemy hit our camp, but we cannot be together. So it maximizes the chances of the enemy to destroy us. So right now, what I see in the world is everybody is coming together. We're united in one voice to destroy this pandemic, to destroy this crisis, to find a way, through this crisis to even still, not just to survive, but to thrive. So I also see love and kindness encouraged in this time. You can't imagine. My landlord called me one day and he messaged me. I saw the message. I said, this man again. But what I saw shocked me. And he was asking me, how are you guys doing? And he said, if you need anything, let me know. Do you need something? If you need anything, let me know. And I was shocked. And I'm like, you know what? This is the way the world is supposed to be. It should not be limited to when crisis. It should not be limited to when we're going through things. So we can't ignore what the other person goes through. If you are a landlord to someone, you can take care of the person by asking, how are you doing? What's going on with you today? Just like asking can take care of a lot of this. So these are the things that I thought about. Also relationships. We can realize that because of this, everybody's at home. We see how we can deepen our relationships with our families, with our wives, with our children, with our friends. Now you can remember a good friend, because this kind of good friends calls you up in the midst of all of this. They try to encourage you. They pray for you. So these are things that I have seen that crisis brings, and and this, it's beautiful. It makes it beautiful, even though it's not palatable. But the fact of the matter is, the positive impact of our crisis outweighs whatever losses, whatever damage it does to people. So I also believe that God in this time is telling us that when things are shaken, he is aware, and he would allow it to remove those things that can be shaken from things that cannot be shaken to remain, for us to go for a reroute. You can imagine if you're going through a way and there is traffic and you have to get to where you're going on time. So what you do is you reroute. you look at yourself, okay, what can I do? What else can I do? So
Yes, sir.
This is the mindset that people should have.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
in the midst of crisis. This coronavirus crisis will be over soon.
Yeah.
And every single day we keep fighting again, different kinds of virus, different kinds of crisis. You know,
Yes, sir.
so we should watch out for where our anchor holds.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can remember the house on the rock and the house on the sand. So when the storm hits, something happens to both of them. So even though the both of them feels the heat, you know, but something happens to the both of them. One remains and one is destroyed. So right now, most of us are hit. In fact, if anyone sees this video anywhere, the person is deemed to have been hit by this coronavirus. But in the midst of it, we have a choice to make. You know, to either go forward, thrive in the process,
yes, sir,
make a decision to thrive in this process, or
yes, sir,
be offended.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And just give up and just be, you know, trashed or, you know, damaged completely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's just the little I say about that. You know?
Very explicit, you know, because you touch on the various aspects that will be affected, individuals, relationships, and how we can actually ensure that we do not give up. So one major thing that I've also taken for myself is that in this time, as humans, we have no choice. We cannot give up. We cannot just because we have some kind of crisis around the world doesn't mean that we should be laid back, or we should just say, oh, the world is coming to an end. Because it's coming to an end, oh, I will just sleep, and I'll be sleeping and be waking up. So thank you so much. You've done great explanation to, and your perception. Reason why I asked you what was your perception is because God actually, for individuals, we have a way of interpreting a particular thing, and differently is because of the uniqueness God has given to each and every one of us. And if you find out what people are saying, I mean, people of your like mind, you will find that even though you have different perspective of what is happening, you will find that it becomes one at the end of the day. So thank you so much for it's very explanatory. Number two, in this present day, what should students pay attention to? In this present time that we are in, what should they pay attention to?
Okay.
What do we, before you answer, because I'm also a student, every day we keep learning. So what should we pay attention to? Okay.
One of the things that I want students to pay attention is the fact that you'll be hit in life.
Yeah.
You will be hit even with your degrees, your master's, your doctorate, your undergraduate, you'll be hit. Yeah, you will be hit. Be prepared as you're going to classes, as you're doing your assignments. Just have this thing at the back of your mind that you may be hit at any point with any kind of crisis.
Yes, sir.
With any kind of crisis. So as you're studying for your academics, for your English, for anything, also prepare yourself for crisis. You know, that's why you're a student. So if anyone should learn how to deal with problems, students should be because you're a student, because you're learning.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Because life is all about learning. So, so the question is, are you equipped or equipping yourself with whatever it takes to thrive in crisis? How do you handle little disappointments or failures? So these are questions students should ask themselves. After school, a lot of things await you after school. How are you prepared to to face all of these things? Whatever you're studying, how does it connect or correlate with what you're going to face out there?
Yes, sir.
So recently I did a session with Professor Akinola, a friend of mine, and it was about how students can make money even while as a student. Is it necessary? So I made a point, and the point was about how responsible making money as a student makes you. It prepares you for uncertainties. It prepares you for surprise, for things that you meet outside school, out of school. So,
Yes, sir.
so these are the major things that student has to pay attention to. In life, you'll be hit, but are you
Yes,
equipped
sir.
or equipping yourself with whatever it takes to thrive in
Yes,
crisis?
sir.
How do you
Yes,
handle
sir.
little disappointments
Yes, sir.
or
Yes,
failures?
sir.
So, do you
Yes.
think that learning or doing your assignments is harder now, or you just adjust yourself for excellence regardless of the limitations? Have you learned? So that is another question. Another question is, have you learned now that your emotions in the time of crisis is only as effective as what you do with it? So the
Yeah.
fact that you're unhappy, you're sad, you're not, you're not comfortable with the
Yes,
situation,
sir.
it won't change
Yes,
it. It
sir.
doesn't change it. Your emotions doesn't change anything.
Yes, sir.
It
Yes,
won't
sir.
take away
Yes,
the
sir.
crisis.
Yes,
It won't
sir.
take away, whatever is going on. But what you do is you make a decision. You make a decision. That is what is done in crisis.
Yes, sir.
You make a decision.
Yes, sir.
Crises are defining moments for people,
Yeah. Yes,
and
sir. Yes,
defining
sir.
moments are decision making
Yes, sir.
moments.
Yes,
So if
sir.
you're on a boat or a car, on a car steering, and something unfortunate happens, don't tell me your prayers will stop crisis from coming.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What
Yes, sir.
happens? What happens? It can happen to anyone. Your
Yes, sir.
steering might fail. So what do
Yes,
you
sir.
do in that
Yes,
process?
sir.
Do you just leave the steering, or you try to maneuver so you
Yes,
can
sir.
survive? So, so a lot of people believe that their prayers can stop, crisis from happening to
Crisis.
them in your business, in your marriage, in anything you're doing. Crisis will hit. So, what happens when crisis hit? You make decisions. What kind of decisions? So you choose to either leave when you're losing your steering, the wheels of your car.
Yes, sir.
You choose to either live or die. You choose to either thrive in the heat of the crisis or be
Yeah. Yeah.
trashed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Choose to either thrive or be trashed by the
Yes, sir.
crisis. So what happens in that way when you make a decision is you make a plan with that with whatever decision you made. So some people will discover themselves in this period of
Yes,
crisis.
sir.
Some students will discover themselves
Yeah. Yeah.
in these
Yeah.
times of crisis. Why some
Yes,
will
sir.
lose themselves?
Yes,
Some will
sir.
completely lose themselves in these times. So your actions will do the job for you. Don't worry. Because whenever you make a decision, if you don't make a plan with that decision, you will start acting in the direction of those your thoughts, or those
Yes, sir.
your whatever you're thinking in that period, or wherever you put yourself. So
Yes,
actions
sir.
will follow. So
Yes, sir.
everyone that has been hit by a crisis has not always been destroyed. Nobody can tell me that. Everybody has been hit, but not everyone that has been hit by a crisis has been destroyed by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people choose to live or to die. People choose to
Yeah.
thrive or to be
Yeah.
trashed
Yes,
in a
sir.
crisis.
Yes, sir.
So another thing for students to pay attention to is discipline against distractions. So to the things that they thought that they couldn't do without, that has robbed them of the success they should have attained, you do everything in your power in this period to pay attention to them, to discipline yourself against them. Pay attention to the things I've said earlier, from what is my perception of what is going on in the world today. Understand that crisis will hit anytime, and
Yes,
we
sir.
face crisis of any kind every single day.
Yes,
But
sir.
what happens as human beings is we live through them.
Yes, sir.
So start investing in things that can hold in and out of crisis. In and out of crisis, because this crisis will end soon. Very soon it will end. So what you should start investing in is things that will keep you out of
Yeah.
crisis.
Yes,
So
sir.
also I mentioned relationships before.
Yes.
So a lot of people thrive on the relationships they built in over the time,
Yes, sir.
for encouragement and support in the time of crisis.
Yes,
So
sir.
students, I want you to build meaningful relationships that
Meaningful
can
relationship.
keep you, encourage you, and support you in the time of crisis. Make relationships with people of substance that can add value to you,
Yes, sir.
in and out of crisis. Spend more
Yes, sir.
time to bond and see what's most important in life.
Yes, sir.
With your
Yes, sir.
families. Spend more time
Yes,
with your
sir.
families, because
Yes,
right
sir.
now the kind of people, the most important people in people's lives now, their families.
Yes,
you
sir.
know bond more with your families. Don't wait
Mm.
until there is a crisis before you bond more with your families. Also, check if the things that serves others best are missing in the book of your big
Yes.
aspirations.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if
Can
in
you
your
say that?
book,
Can you say that again? What did you say?
yeah, check if the things that serves others best are missing in the book of your big aspirations.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. The reason I said that is I've seen a lot of celebrities or GOs or leaders, in that has practiced, in the healthcare system before. I see them going back into their courts
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
going into the to want to serve better. So these are places that they have neglected or overgrown or
yeah.
outgrown before, but now they're going back to want to do what is important. So that is how life is. There are
Yes,
things
sir.
that serves others best.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
ensure that they're not missing in the
Yes,
book
sir.
of your big aspirations. Yes, dream
Yes, sir.
big, but ensure that these things are not missing in that book. And also be more informed as a student. You're a student. Learn, be more informed. This times exposes how ignorant people can be. People patronize, yeah, these times people patronize errors and misinformations. And the
Yes,
only
sir.
record of memory they will have of these times is losses.
Yes, sir. Yes,
This
sir.
kind of persons that are not informed in this time, the only record and memory they will have of this time of crisis is losses.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so ensure that you're more informed every single time,
Yes, sir.
to deal with whatever is going on, and you can thrive through
Yes,
it.
sir.
That's just basically what I have for students. Yeah, yeah,
It's very explicit. Like, I'm
yeah,
always that you can see my bio I'm taking notes because you
yeah,
mentioned that it's life is about learning.
yeah,
And if we are not learning every day, then we are actually declining. We are actually going backwards. So it's important for us to learn. Thank you so much. My third question is, how will you define purpose? And how can students from around the world
uh,
define, how can they discover their purpose? Because you mentioned that in this time, students, some people will discover themselves the more. So one, what is your definition of purpose? Two, how can students and people generally, what is that process of purpose discovery? What would you say to that?
okay. Simply put, purpose is the reason and the function for something. Simply put, I don't want to go over dictionary definition of purpose, but
Yeah.
simply put, it's the function and the reason for something, the reason for or the function of something. So we'll be damned in this world to think that we are all here, created and planted on earth just to breathe, eat, and die. So there is more to our creation here on earth. So
Yes,
some may
sir.
have resolved. Some may have resolved um, you know, forget about purpose. I just want to live every day. I just want to do what suits me best. I just want to do what makes me happy. But what about, where do you put your yearnings, your passions that you can't define where they're coming from?
Yes,
You
sir.
know, so you can't discover the use of something without consulting the manufacturer of that thing.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Some
sir.
people throw God, in the basket.
Yeah.
That's their problem. That's their problem. But I think it's wise to ask yourself, what is my function? What is the reason I'm here? So who do you want to ask? Are you asking yourself? You can't even answer that. You don't even know how you came to be. So you
Yes, sir.
ask the person who made
Yes,
you,
sir. Yes, sir.
because that is the best person to consult for the function and the reason something has been made. And I
Yes, sir.
believe that God is the one who made heaven and earth and everything
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that exists, that
Yes,
breathes,
sir.
that exists here
Yes,
on
sir.
earth. Either we like it or not, we can you can contest that with whoever you want to contest it with. But we believe in God, and we believe that God is the best person to show us, to tell us what our purpose is. So, in other ways, the way that you can discover what your purpose is on earth is to pray and ask God to reveal His will to you. Because when you know God's will, you can understand what His purpose is for
Yeah.
you. Because
Yes, sir.
your purpose cannot be antagonistic to God's will.
Yours.
Your
Yeah. Yeah.
purpose,
Yeah.
your purpose serves the plan and things serves the plan and will of the manufacturer. So our purpose and whatever our function and our reason for existence is, should serve the will, the plan that God has for bringing us into this life. So, our function in that plan is our purpose. Our function in that will of God is our purpose. So we have to take
above everything
God as a priority by embracing His Son, Jesus Christ. So passion and desires are part of the things God puts inside of us, and it is there to help us live effectively and distinctively from shadow boxers. So there are a lot of people just living every single day. They're shadow boxing. They're just living every day. They don't even know which way to go. But the passions that God puts inside of us and the desires that He puts inside of us are the things that He intends to guide us into what He wants us to live for. So He puts that purpose in us. He created us differently. So as we are all different, so is our purpose on earth. But they all work together for the plan and purpose and will of God the Father. So check what you're passionate about. The issues or problems you're drawn towards. Maybe politics, maybe corruption in politics. If you're drawn towards that, if that bothers you a lot, go into politics. Study. Learn. Go into politics. Go and make the change. If you are drawn towards sick people, then learn. Go and study medicine. Go and take care of sick people. Take care of the sick. Take care of sick, old people. Take care of them. If you're drawn, if you're drawn towards issues or problems, like I said, about maybe politics or corruption or whatever it is. So, or games or sports or a profession that you can't get yourself to stop thinking about. Learn about it. Learn about it. Train yourself or get trained and put yourself in that place. Fulfill that yearning, that desire, that passion that you have for those things. That is where your purpose lies. So purpose is deeply rooted or hidden in either your background or inside of you or around you. So look at your background, look at how you've grown, look at where you're coming from, look at the things you've had to deal with. Look deep inside of you, look at the yearnings, the passions you have, look around you, what is happening around you. Why are the things happening around you? Look at the people that you're connected with. Look at the people in your life, the young persons, the adults that are in your life, the kind of problems that they have. Look at it. Why are they drawn to you? Why are they all around you? So your purpose is hidden in all of these things. But the only way you can find out is by asking yourself questions. Why are these things happening? Why do I have these desires? Why do I have this passion? Why am I surrounded with all of these persons? So if you can't find an answer, you will find an answer. But an answer, be guided to talk to someone and help you. The right person. So when you find it, whatever it is, it cannot be against the plan. I'm repeating, whatever it is, whatever you find, whatever the purpose is, it cannot be against the plan, will, purpose, or agenda of God. So that's it. That's what little I can say about purpose. Is a very big thing.
I really appreciate that. First, whatever purpose that we think that we have can never be outside of God. Because we're the one who created ourselves. Like you said, we have to know that we are in Him. Our purpose is in Him. So whatever things we want to achieve, it is just to fulfill His purpose, to make a change on the face of the earth. That was very explicit. I know purpose. The question of purpose is so big that people think about it in different ways. It's so huge. It's so big. And there's a lot of, you will find people arguing, no, they don't even believe that it was God who actually created them. So they have doubt. And instead of them opening their minds to the truth, instead of them opening their minds to understanding that you did not create yourself. Did you know how you grew in your mother's womb? You don't have an idea. Do you know how every food that you eat, that your mom takes, how it processes in your body, in her body, to form every part of your body? Do you know how you don't know? So for the fact that you can't even understand some things should let you know that we have a creator who makes all things perfect for us. So thank you for that question. The next question.
Amen. Yeah.
How can, because one of the problems that we have now, for example, while I was growing up, I was never taught the concept of time. All right, nobody sat me down to teach me the importance, the resource called time. It's so important in such a way that students must take it as a core course, because whatever it must be a core course, because without understanding
time management 101.
you can call it the art and science of time management. So I want to ask you, because you are someone I respect a lot, how do students manage their time in this period? How do you think that they can manage their time properly?
Okay. In this period, right? Like I said before, I've said many of these things, but I would, just point out one more or two as it relates to time. I said, what happens in crisis? You make a decision. When you're losing the steering of your car to an accident, what happens is you make a decision. You choose to either live or die. You choose to either thrive in a crisis or be trashed by it. So what happens is, make a plan. If you don't have a plan, there is a likelihood that you waste time. If you don't have a plan, there is a likelihood, a big likelihood that you waste time. So when you make a plan, get busy with that plan. Whatever the plan is for, just get busy with it. When you get busy with your plan, before you know it, you realize that 24 hours is not even enough for you to finish up. You understand? So that is basically how it works with time, and in a time like this. So make a decision and tell yourself, this is what I want to do in this time. When you make that decision, work it before your time is gone. So focus mainly on the things that matter the most. Because when you make a plan, you see some things that can wait for another time. So just focus mainly on the things that matters the most. You take your time and attention from the things that don't matter. So in that way, you don't have to struggle with the things that don't matter. So put the things that don't matter aside and focus on the things that matter. So now you have all the time. Right now, we have all the time. I was thinking and I was arguing with myself. Is it that we have than 24 hours in a day? Is it not the same time that we have every single day? So I'm like, we don't have more time, but we have, but we are spared because of the things that you don't have to do. Like sometimes you have to take the bus to some places. You don't have to do that. You have to drive to your place of work or to school. So like 30 minutes is gone of your 24 hours. So right now you have added, more time from the things that you don't have to do every single day. Sometimes you have to go for shopping. You don't have to go for shopping anymore. Sometimes you have to go visit your friends. It's limited now. We can't do much of that. So we have, more time added to what we already have. So what you do with it, do what you have always wanted to do, that you don't have the time to do, like taking a new course. Most of the courses are online now. They are free in most of these universities. I imagine Harvard University are giving free courses. Now, a lot of institutions are giving free courses. Go online, search for courses in many of these notable institutions or organizations. Learn that course. Learn maybe a trade. Learn how to do business in this kind of time, or learn a new language, that you've always wanted, or a new skill, or so just find a way to do something. Convert the time that you use in going to different places. Now that you can't, convert that time into something that you've always wanted to do, but you didn't have the extra time to do. So also pay attention to the pandemic, because a lot of people are, bothered about what is going on right now. They don't have the plan for after the pandemic. The pandemic will be over. It's just a crisis. It will be over. It comes and goes, just as in every day of our lives. So form a habit of discipline that doesn't require the police or any kind of virus to restrict you from getting results. Because right now the police is the only persons, restricting people and making sure that people do what they have to do to be safe and to get a good result. So after the virus, you do the policing. Lead yourself. Lead yourself. Watch your exercise and be proud of yourself. Ask God for strength, wisdom, and guidance. And wisdom and guidance always. So these are the little ways that I know that time can be managed very well in this period. So go about the crisis in the first place should not keep you from doing every single thing that you're doing every single day that is adding value to yourself. I work from home. You work from home. You study. I study at this time. So what happens is the time that you never had to do the thing that you loved to do, maybe taking a new course, learning a skill, and all of that. So convert the time that you have now to that time to do those things and achieve, success for yourself and be happy at the end of the, at the end of the virus, you'll be happy, you'll be excited, what, the things that you were able to put together in this period, when others are complaining. And
thank you very much. One of the things that you mentioned was it's easy to get caught up in what is happening in such a way that all that we will find ourselves discussing is what is happening, instead of discussing about the new inventions we can make, the new books we can write, the new courses we can take, the new conferences we can do together. Okay, so like I'm picking that point, and I'm saying to everybody that we should not get caught up in discussing about what is presently happening. And like, crisis comes in different forms, and this is just one of them. It's just that it came through a tough famine in such a way that it had to shake the roots of the world. But it is still called crisis, and we know that it will come and go. And if we know that it's going to come and go, then we have to prepare for aftermath of the crisis. Who are we going to be when the crisis is all gone? Who are we going to be? All right. So I really appreciate you for that answer. Now, I know you've mentioned this during the questions that I asked, but in terms of distractions, how can they limit how they are being distracted? How do you think? Because discipline is one of the toughest, personal discipline is one of the toughest things that people can get to do, for you to be personally disciplined. So how do you think that they can be disciplined? How can they cut away major distractions from their lives during this time?
Every point of our lives, we're all
I agree.
We're all tempted to be unwise in the use of our times. So I have mentioned before now. So, but another thing I will just add to that is for you to cultivate a good habit that you have, that's been hard to cultivate all this while. So the reason you're doing that is to replace a bad one that you've always been sad about all along. There are habits in individuals' lives, habits that you wish that you have time to really focus on it, just focus on it, and just get done with it. So now you have extra time, not extra time added to 24 hours, but extra time because you don't have to go to different places. So focus on those habits, cultivate a good one to replace the bad one that you already have. It might be hard, not to be distracted now because of what is going on, but it is important that you do by all means. You do it by all means. Add value by all means. Add value to yourself. No one is going to do it for you. Add value to yourself. You love yourself. Give yourself the best. The best that life can offer anyone. So right now should not be an exception. Focus your time on building new habits. It will help you getting away from distractions. At least at the end of the day, you're adding value to yourself. So focus on a good habit to replace a bad one that you've always been sad, be disturbed, be depressed about all this while. So it's at the end of the day going
yes,
to
sir.
be
Okay, I really love that. Then our last question will be, how do you think things will change for us all after this is over? How do you think it will change? How do you think it's going to? Because now, guess what? Now it's now normal to take education is shifting away from the classroom model, the traditional classroom model, to virtual classes. And I, for example, find it very efficient teaching my students online, because it's so, you know, I get to hear their feedbacks easily in the comforts of their home. So that's just an example. How is it going to change life for us all?
Yeah. Okay, like you said, you rightly pointed out that things are